Now we have Semenchenko here, who initiated this trip to frontline, and he will tell us a story. And then we will add. The story is very simple. We have two parallel realities. One parallel reality is in some TV channels and in Russian TV about. This is a story about those. Residents in Donbass who are starving, almost starving to death, and only humanitarian aid from Akhmetov is providing humanitarian aid and assistance to them. On the other hand, there is parallel reality when people in Donetsk, residents in Donetsk, live their normal lives, and pensioners go periodically to Slavyansk, to Ukrainian territory, receive their pensions, come back, and the stores are full of products. On the other hand, there are militants and terrorists who do not allow humanitarian aid to enter Donetsk. On the other hand, there are some territorial volunteer battalions who believe that we should control that we should provide assistance to residents in Mariinka, Krasnogorovka, and some others. There, people are really starving. While to the other cities, we should not allow the humanitarian aid to go because they do not need it. At the same time, we have fixed and registered record amounts of humanitarian aid coming to some checkpoints, and those cargoes contained cigarettes, alcoholic drinks, petrol, etc. We suspect that there should be corruption between some Ukrainian servicemen and the terrorists, and we understood that this actually withdraw money from our social assistance funds while we are discussing tough budget in the parliament. On the other hand, this is actually very close to betrayal. And that's why we took members of parliament from the committees, from parliamentary committee on corruption fighting, and we visited the checkpoints where humanitarian convoy of Rinat Akhmetov and some other were blocked. So the result, we will enter to the parliament a draft law about a ban on trade with occupied territories, and we will provide only humanitarian assistance to those who will suffer. We'll stop trade even now. Humanitarian convoys should travel there only under the banner, the flag of Ukrainian state, not just under the flags of private funds. Also, we should control how products, food products are supplied to department stores in Donetsk, and they should be taxed. And that is what I do know from July and August, and know now that Russian humanitarian aid, which is supplied there, it does not reach local residents. So this is in brief the information which I wanted to share with you.
I believe that Mr. Semenchenko told you everything, and let's switch to the questions. I have several questions. Do you have any evidence? I see. That's the first question. That's what you found in among the trucks from Akhmetov Foundation or something else. Do you have photo, video, and requested to police as to weapons and also clothes? There was information about that. And yesterday there was an incident, and there was a threat to a journalist from Channel 34. Who are those people who threatened them? And the last question: do you have really information? There is no civilian who will not suffer because they will not receive that assistance. First of all, we did not state that in so-called humanitarian convoy of Akhmetov there was alcohol. That's manipulation. That was used by media that are closer to oligarchs, which is done this. First of all, they attach words to someone, and then they denounce those words. Who are those people? I don't know. I did not participate in all those things. I would like to suggest you to use your rhetorics and to write your statement to police. As to clothing, etc., Mr. MP Denisenko sent that information to SBU as to the activity of Akhmetov. It was not our task to appeal to police because the fact that there was a cargo that was found, that cargo was found a day before, so we have not seen that. I was clear what I saw there in just soldiers' food, noodles and porridge and all the rest. And Igor also mentioned that that's a big cargo. There was a big cargo. If the cargo comes from Ukraine, state of Ukraine, and also if there is a list of those people who are needed, and if it is issued, and if we hand out under control, that nobody will suffer. If you're hunting for very good image, then the foundation will be successful. The majority will be taken by militants, and maybe a part will be in shops because it's not clear how shops get products. But some people will get it. But if it's the state and Red Cross deal with that, they will be more useful. They will be more useful. We should control it. Red Cross and state of Ukraine will transport. Who will do with this locally? Who will deal locally? How will you make the list of those people who need that? And how are you going to issue those that food, etc., that assistance? There are two solutions. The first one, it must be prohibited to have any trade with occupied territories. Secondly, first of all, it's cynical because that is done behind the backs of soldiers who give their life for Ukraine, not to be for the whole Ukraine, not to be common occupied territory. And also, it's that for the benefit of militants, because all trade operations are not allowed without their approval. And so this mission. And somebody was worried because that was Cossacks of Moscow would use it because that was cargo for Stakhanov. And under the roof, they wanted to sell that. So allowing the trade with occupied territories, we gave money to leaders of terrorists, and who later can turn that money into weapons and can pay the mercenaries and to kill our soldiers. That's why any trade with occupied territories of Donbass and Crimea must be stopped. And such law, we will write it and we will bring it to the parliament. As to humanitarian assistance, there are no people who are against humanitarian assistance. More of that. We want that to be provided, first of all, to people who are there, because they don't have electricity, they don't have gas, and they have no other supplies because nobody wants to trade there. And if Ukrainian businessmen, including big businessmen, if they want to provide humanitarian assistance, then we call them to focus on, first of all, on pre-front territories where we speak about survival of people. Very often they receive food from our soldiers. Our big businessmen could take it as an example. If there are citizens of Ukraine who would like to provide assistance to people who are under control of LNR, DNR, then in our opinion it cannot be like The state of Ukraine is bad, and I'm such a nice businessman. I will have personal relations with you, and I will help you. And but though I am in the capital of Ukraine, in Kiev, and I'm defended by soldiers who die there. If there are such businessmen who would like to provide humanitarian assistance to residents of occupied territories, LNR, DNR, they should agree with our government to involve the Red Cross. The government and the Red Cross are responsible for transportation and guarantee that that is the assistance, but not illegal trade of goods in those shops, or making something good to militants. And they should guarantee that it gets into the hands of those people who need it the most. And there are people who need that assistance, and nobody's against that assistance to be provided by this. Must be assistance under the control of Red Cross and under government guarantees that that is the assistance which will get to those people who are needed, who need that. That's our proposals, and we'll have it as MPs. On the way back, we could see some channels that's broadcasting under control of separatists, and they show how humanitarian assistance from Russia comes, and every time they show how they unload it, and to warehouses that are filled with that humanitarian assistance, but never they show how they hand it to people, to civilians. So we have reasons to believe that, and that is only those who fight against Ukraine, they get that humanitarian assistance. We are ready to support. We support the idea to give it to people who need it. And there are simple mechanisms in Debaltsevo, and I went for several hours to Debaltsevo just to see the situation on checkpoints. And there are international groups, and the representatives of CE, Russia, and the DNR, LNR, representatives of Ukraine, who monitor who violates, who abuses ceasefire. We are ready to send more people to those groups for them to work together, but not in Donetsk and Luhansk, but in those villages where they need that humanitarian assistance, because everything is taken to Donetsk, and representatives from Akhmetov's foundation, they told that it will go to Donetsk, and which is where Vostok militants are. To be precise, for you to understand clearly, yes, in those trucks and humanitarian convoy of Renat Akhmetov, there was juice, noodles, and porridge, but there is no document that was a humanitarian assistance. There was no representative from the foundation of Akhmetov. We saw a woman who told that she is the representative of trade network Brusnichka. That's a chain that belongs to Akhmetov, and they sell on occupied territories products. And we saw a man who told that he runs the security service of that chain, Brusnichka. For the question, are those trucks there? He said yes. But when there were more deputies and generals, he told no. He just came to organize security for that lady. And that lady had no documents that she was taking a humanitarian cargo. And Russians were the first to discredit that notion of humanitarian aid, and it's time to stop it. And we should take control of this, and also Red Cross should control this, and we should help to people who need it. And what was done by battalion Donbass, Dnipro, and armed forces, when they stopped those cargoes, it's not the mission of a military man. On checkpoints, and our task was on those to prevent the traffic of weapons and people who carry weapons. And then they should check. We have police to check humanitarian cargoes. And with this trip, we wanted to show that though we have legislation, those bodies are not functioning well and properly. That's why we have this issue. We need to develop a draft law that will stop any cooperation with occupied territories where terrorists are, and it will not allow, and also it will allow more powers to the armed forces and to police.
Ukraine TV channel, whether you have any proof